All right. Well, I'm out here today with my mini bike again. There she is on the stand already, the BT200X. And if you recall, it was about a week ago, I put the Stage 1 kit on it and installed a torque converter, right? And I did a before and after, trying to see the before and after how fast it would go. And when I first took it out, it did, totally stock, it did 20 miles an hour. Did my deal, went out there, and I was going to test it on the same road, and I got up to 31 miles an hour, but my cap flew off, right? So I turned around, I didn't reach full speed, I know that. I just turned around, picked up my cap, went back to the starting line, and was rudely interrupted by the police. So I still don't know how fast it'll go. But one thing I did notice when I did take it down the road, I did notice the vibration wasn't, it didn't vibrate near as much as it did when it was stock. And what I did, I showed you before, I just used some rubber flat washers in between the motor mounts and the mounting plate, on the frame, and I was thinking, well, if it shows any sign of vibration dampening, then I'm going to go full bore and do it right. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use some 1/2 inch, and I'll show you what I used and where I got them. I think I got everything at Lowe's. They're 1/2 inch thick grommets, and with the fender washers on there, and I'm sure, I'm hoping it'll really show a difference, right? But there is something else you have to do besides that, because even if you tighten them down that way, the engine could still slide around if you don't watch out, and what you get out of that is a misalignment of the chain, and the chain will loosen up and all that good stuff. But let me show you what I did. So I started out just prepping everything to take the engine off, starting with the chain. And just a few cables there, just a couple of cables and the throttle, and that was it. I was ready to unbolt the engine and take it off. Alright, so you can see I got the engine off, and here are the standoffs that I made. Those I'll still use. Here are the rubber washers. You can see how thin it was. Those will be gone. So here are the bumpers I found, and yeah, these are Hillman's. You can find them at Lowe's. You can find them on Amazon. Same stuff. And I found some fender washers, and you want to put one on the top and the bottom. And the fender washers are a little oversized, but that's fine. I just know when you start torquing this thing down, that rubber bumper is going to squeeze out, and you don't want it to go outside of the fender, I guess. If you use a regular washer, that's fine also. Just when you start tightening them down, just be aware it's going to bulge, and you don't want to tighten them too tight, because as they age and they're compressed, they'll get brittle, start cracking. But that's years down the line, right? But you want the washers here like this, and you can put them up here or between here and the motor. It doesn't matter. I'm going to put it down here on the plate, and you see why you need the washer like that. You don't want the bumper to start squeezing down through the hole, right, through your slot. And so with the washers on there, it'll be a good flat pressure on across the whole bumper. And if you need to, you can still scoot this back and forth and adjust your engine. Let's see, let me put another one in place. Okay, so they'll be sitting like that, right? And with your engine on it, with the, you know, you could still slide it back and forth, right? And even if you tighten this down, I mean, there's still going to be some give. You know, that's the whole point of, you know, the vibration dampening. You want the harmonics and all that stuff, but your engine can still slide back backward mainly because the way the engine's moving when you're moving around, you have tension from your chain, so your engine could scoot backwards, right? I was going to drill something, you know, on this plate, but the good thing with this, you could use this as is and just make an L bracket. They'll come across and butt up against this, right? So that after you get everything lined up right where you want it, then you butt the L bracket, you butt it up against your mount and bolt it down. So that will keep it from going backwards, right? And if you do need to move the engine, you know, to tension the chain and all that good stuff, well, that's what this is for. So on each side, then you can fine tune your chain tension, you know, from back here. So once everything's in place here, you really, you know, won't need to move your engine around. It's just when you're initially putting the engine on, get everything where you want it, and then slide the bracket in and bolt it down. So, and we'll show you as it goes. Yeah, so I hope that made sense. I'm ready to put the engine on. You can see everything's in place, and I'll spare you that because it's just going to be a hassle I'm going to plop the engine down, then you got to line everything up, and it's a pain in the butt almost unless you have 2 hands or 3 hands. So if you want to join in and help me, come on right now, you know. But I'm going to go ahead and do this. And don't forget your hardware. I'm using 5/16. They fit the bumpers nicely. 5/16 washers, fender washers, and the bolts I have, the previous, I was using 2.5 inches long, and while I was at Lowe's I was like, well, just in case, you know, because I'm adding another 1/2 inch, but it will squeeze down a little bit. So, but I went in and picked up some 3-inch also. So when it's on there, we'll see which one has the best fit, and the 2.5 inch might work great. Just as long as it has enough thread to engage the lock washer, right? So that's about it. I'm going to go ahead and get the engine down, put everything together, put the chain back on so that I can adjust, you know, where I want it, and then go ahead and bolt the engine down. Then I'll come back and take the measurements to make the L bracket, and I'll show you that. Okay. Got the engine on there. That was a pain in the butt, but I think it'll be worth it. Let me show you what I did. Yeah, you can see them down here. And the same on the rear. So they're still loose, because once I put the chain on, and then I'll shove the engine as forward as I need it. And then tighten everything down. So it's going to squash the rubber bushings. You don't want it overdo it, of course, but once I get that in place, where the tension, where the chain seems like it's, you know, proper tension on it, then I'll go ahead and, you know, tighten everything down, and I'll look around and see if I can make me a bracket. And it could be just an L bracket, goes across, or I can make it something that goes all the way across this with like a T handle kind of. and so that way when I put pressure on it, it's across this whole thing. Yeah, after that, I guess I want to make sure it's not going to be away the oil spigot there either. That'd be a pain in the butt to change. But it looks like it'll go right past it. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. Let me get the chain on and get everything lined up, and I'll tighten everything down. So you can see I'm just a fraction just too short of the chain, and my engine is all the way back. So I've loosened these adjusters here, and I need to loosen up the axle bolt, and I'm going to shove the whole wheel in just a tiny bit. I've only gone one full rotation counterclockwise, so that it'll move in just a fraction of an inch, and we'll get the chain on. Damn, that thing's tight. Alright, let's see if that'll move everything up. Yep, just a tiny bit, but that was enough. Let's get that on. Alright, let's go ahead and tighten the engine mount down, and I'll probably have to go tweak it again. Yeah. Alright. So that's about it. Let me tighten the engine down. Well, I think I got lucky with this one. When I mounted everything down, I have the engine as far back as it will go, right? And then I tightened the chain back here, and there's still plenty of room left for adjustments, right? You still got a good, 3/4 of an inch or so that you can go backwards with it. But I think I got lucky with this one. You can see it's all the way back. And so I almost really don't need to put that stop on there. That's a little crooked, but I guess it doesn't matter. I don't know. I'll think about this. I think I'll go ahead and if I can find a steel, some scrap steel or something where I can make an L bracket, and because I could always loosen this up and straighten it out. It looks like the engine is straight, but this is not. But I don't think that's going to matter much at all. Okay, well, I'll continue looking, but you see what I mean. It's if you can have something butt up against there, if you have your engine all the way forward, then it could, after vibrating and all that good stuff, yeah, it could, scoot backwards, especially with the tension of the chain. It is gonna try to pull it back some, but in this case, it's already back as far as it'll go. I also noticed, so I raised the engine up that tiny bit. I'll have to measure that off, but you can see now this muffler is just right butt up against the frame. I mean, it just barely cleared it just by a hair. But this is coming off anyway. I'm still going to do that. I still want the aftermarket exhaust. I just have to bend that pipe out. So Yeah, so there's definitely still a little vibration. You can feel it all through the frame and in the handlebars. When you get to the higher RPMs, of course, they disappear. But since this engine is already far back as it will go, I think I'm going to let off on the bolts so that those grommets aren't going to be, you know, compressed so much, and see if that makes a difference. All right, well, I loosened them up, and the grommets are probably compressed maybe halfway down, not as far down as it was. I let them off a little bit, and let's see if that helped any. Oh yeah. So I can definitely feel it, even in the frame now. It reduced a lot of that. I can even grab the frame, and there's not near as much vibration, but you can see it all in the engine now, right? So it seems to work. I don't think it's going to hurt the engine any. But you can see how it's definitely dampening the vibration. It's still transferring it through the chain, and that's probably about it. Alright, well, I have the gas off. I'm just letting it burn everything in the carburetor. Probably not going to matter. I'm probably going to try to take it out sometime soon. So I think that's going to do it. I mean, it was an experiment for me. I think I can go down a little bit tighter, because I went and felt the bolts on there, and a couple of them are just really loose. I can just turn, right? There are lock nuts on there, so they're not going to back off, but I think I can turn them down so that at least they're just not going to be jiggling. But I could definitely tell when just sitting there idling, it's not all over the frame and the handlebars anymore. So it definitely worked, and I think I just need to find a bracket that I can adapt or make one. I can't find any steel, any L brackets or anything that I can adapt over. Maybe in the garage, but so I think I still need that back brace on the back, and I could even have a rubber bumper on that too. It's just enough to keep it from torquing over so much. But I think it's going to do fine as is. I'm dying to take it out and see how fast it'll go. If I get the chance before I edit this video, I will. But if I don't get the chance, I mean, I'll have it on another video. But I guess that's it for this one. At least we know we're on the right track for vibration dampening on these things. And I guess that's it. So, as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and watch for my next video.